Right.
You played with the Eagles. You played with Charlie Daniels' band. You've also played with like the Allman Brothers.
Right.
And are there ghosts involved anymore when you get on stage of some of the people that you played with, even of Toy and Tommy?
Well, with Toy and Tommy, it's a natural. Because I get on stage and the guys that we're here now, see, the original band was only together for 10 years. So for the last 20 years, I've been getting up there and feeling different things that go through your heart and your mind, and I just remixed, and which is out right now, live August 1980 at Nassau Coliseum. It was Tommy's very last show. It was recorded on 24 track, went back and remixed it all. It's got 15 songs on it, and it is great. It is solid great. But I'd walk out of the studio like I had played every show, like I had played every song on the show, and it took us like 4 weeks to remix it, to make it all audio sound wise. And we got Tommy on the cover, and I mean, it was his very last show. That next morning he was on his way to do a workout, and after we took the bus home that night, and I mean, I feel those emotions, and I know that they would be proud because of the way we play now and the way that I've continued to do it. We said, all right, I got out of service, Toy got out of the service, Tommy got out of the service, and me and Toy went to bed, and we got back, and everybody said, well, why don't we give it one shot? We'll keep our day jobs. Okay, I worked in a bank, and Toy was, he sold plumbing fixtures, and his dad was a plumber by trade, and I don't recall what Tommy did. He was working all the time, though. And so we said we'd practice every night. So we learned Can't You See and Take the Highway and Heard It in a Love Song, songs like that, and Losing You, and then we recorded them.
You didn't seem to have a struggling period playing the nightclubs and honky tonks when it was like when you first came out with your first album, you were an overnight sensation.
We were out playing for the first 2 years, opening for the Allman Brothers.
All right.
So we were hitting big halls, but also the first time I went to Manhattan, a month before that, we played for 40 people at a place called Ebby's in New York in Manhattan. And so we were out, there was struggling because Toy and I, even before we went to service, had a band called, my first band was in 1955. See, so think about that. My mom and daddy had me in my first band. It was a band called The New Generation, and we had our little suits and stuff on, and it was entered in talent shows. Lost the first one, and then started winning after that because I finally learned and got the experience to do it. But and then there was Toy Factory with Toy and Tommy and myself played together before we went into service. So when we got out, we knew that we had to do something to make a living. That musicianship is a real job. So the real job had to be done. So we knew that something had to be done, and then Phil called us down there, and Phil Walton, Capricorn Records, called us down. He said, why don't you come over to the office tomorrow? Well, we come to the office, and there we were. We had a contract offer, and we knew that we'd get to open for the Allman Brothers for a couple of years, and we got playing, going from 40 people and maybe 100 people to 17 to 22,000. That made a big difference because people got to see us. You know, and when people see you and you're doing as good and as impressive as you can get out there and do, and you still sound good and you're the same person, you can't deny the fact that you're being yourself.
And you were so unique when you first came out, and this is something I wanted to bring up. You know, there's a lot of bands that you're associated with, like the Allman Brothers and Skinner, and
especially Charlie, because we're out with Charlie a lot.
But you're not. Your sound isn't anything like any of them, and there's only one band that I can think of, and it's a band from back home. Probably most people haven't even heard of them. And this is a question I was talking about earlier that I just have nagging at me. You ever heard of the Mission Mountain Wood Band?
Actually, I did. Somebody compared that years ago. It's like 10 years ago that somebody mentioned to me about that, and I said, well, I'd like to hear it. But you know, I never did. So.
Well, they've been gone for quite a while. They turned into the Montana band, I think.
Right.
But they were the one band that I could think of that really sounds a lot like you.